Chris Lane, Gunnersville, Alabama.
However, originally from
Florida, Polk County. Grew up, spent 33 years in down here in South Florida, mid-Florida area, fishing Kissimmee, Okeechobee, Harris, all the Great Lakes in Florida. And then me and my wife decided that if we ever had a chance to live wherever we could live, it would be Gunnersville, Alabama, after I fished a tournament there one time. And we had that opportunity, and we've been there for the last 12.
Now, when you say down here, we should note this. We're shooting this podcast, recording this at Stage 2, Lake Okeechobee. This is your day off. You were in another group, and we've just watched the end of competition for one of the qualifying days. It's Day 2, Group A. And your brother Bobby's in this, and just I'm curious about just viewership of Score Tracker in general. Like, what is it that you pay attention to? What do you not pay attention? Do you watch? Do you listen? Do you pay attention to this stuff throughout the course of the day or no?
I do a little bit. I probably watched it more so today than I ever have before because of my brother's situation. He'll take it with a grain of salt, and he'll move on to the next one, and he'll do just fine. But it hurts, and the one thing about being a professional fisherman that I can say. And I try to teach this to young kids because they're not used to this. You have to accept defeat because you will deal with it all the time.
More often than winning, for sure.
Absolutely. And it's not defeat so much as in an event, but in a day. When you go out there and it's just like a golfer or a quarterback that doesn't have his best game, stuff like that. The thing is, as an individual, you really don't have a team to carry you through. But you do hopefully you have a support team at home. So when you get home, and Bobby's got a great support team at home, so he'll be fine.
So this particular lake, this area is one that is important to you from your fishing history. You have 4 top 10s here, at least 4 top 10s here, a couple of wins. But Bobby has mentioned that this particular lake, for you in particular, even more than him, is sort of, it's got a kind of a special place for you. And I'm curious why, because both of you clearly have spent a lot of time here, but what is it about Lake Okeechobee that for you is particularly special?
I think it's the fact about how many fish you can actually catch when you get on them and how big they are. It's loaded with 5 and 6 and 7 pounders to where Kissimmee, which is about an hour north of here, is loaded with giants,
Got it.
And maybe not as many, but you'll have a tendency to catch some really big ones up there, but not as many 5 and 6 pounders. So as far as quality of bass that you can catch and the aggression that they have down here, it's unbelievable. And I think it's a great place to come and fish and spend the day.
How many years have you been fishing down here?
I guess I started here when I was about 19, 20 years old, and we never really ventured down here until the start of the BFLs. And the first BFL I ever fished, I fished as a co-angler. And that's the only time I've ever fished as a co-angler.
How'd you do?
I did okay. I actually had a great partner. I actually fished a spot the first day where Gary Simpson was his name. He was an All-American. He was a great guy, an older gentleman. And it was a joy to be with him, but I wanted to be where he was, right in the front of the boat. So, I take that back, and that's a memorable experience that I'll have. And, with the BFLs that are out there now, if you're looking to just go fishing and have fun, they're a great part. It's what got me into one-man tournaments.
Got it. So I should note that you may hear some background chatter because we're here at Lightsey's Seafood Restaurant, which is currently located in downtown Okeechobee. This restaurant was elsewhere for how long, Chris? 15, 20 years? A long time. It's down by the ramp that we have been launching from this week.
Oh, yeah, and the food has not changed a bit. It was excellent down there. We'd come in from a tournament, and we'd go there and eat. We'd eat there the night before after the meeting, and they've moved downtown in a great location here in downtown Okeechobee, and the food is fantastic, just like it was before.
Yeah, so Lightseys is spelled Lightsseys, and the menu says if it swims, crawls, or hops, we'd probably serve it. And that is accurate. The menu's awesome.
Welcome to Okeechobee.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah.
Yeah, living off the land. It's like a high-end Louisiana swamp food.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's
Let's,
excellent.
Let's talk a little bit about just the challenge of fishing this lake, just in general, but this week in particular, we have, frankly, awful conditions. I mean, it's been a tough week. We had wind, we had rain, much calmer today, but still not easy by any means. So
Still windy.
yeah, correct.
Worst conditions you can deal with on Lake Okeechobee we faced. You go from a warming trend of 85 degrees to where, when I say the bass were off the chain, is a good way to say that, it was
Really?
right before this cold front. You would have seen Okeechobee at its finest in a big, big way. When you're flipping with no hook, and after you catch two big ones, and then you take the hook off and put a hitchhike on or whatever the way we practice, to have the amount of bites that you've had, and the size of them because you can feel some of them. That's what Okeechobee is, and that's probably why it's so special. Going back to your earlier question, but this week in particular, 80, 85, I guess it was during the day.
That's right.
Water temp was 79. Big wads of fish had pushed up right where they're supposed to be in the clear water.
Yeah.
And particularly on the south end. But the one thing that happened is we had a torrential front come through, and I mean wind like I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Never fished in it. And the reason we never fished in it because those days would be canceled. But with Major League Fishing and our new trailering policy to protect the officials, the cameraman, and ourselves, this is a sporting event. It's not a tournament. So when that was put in effect and we could trailer to where we wanted to, guys were still safe. They got there. We got the show done. We got the day done, and that's important.
Sure.
But the conditions that Okeechobee faced this week, I hated it because and I think you will see Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll see it go back
You think
to
so?
where it was. You're going to have a hard southwest wind. It's going to be coming, I think we have another small front coming, but you're going to have a southwest wind for the next 3 days. Watch out, because Okeechobee will produce the giants that it's used to. Somebody will win. My prediction would be that somebody catches well over 75 to 100 pounds.
Really? So then how badly do you want to perform tomorrow then? So you can
real bad. I've thought about it. I've thought about it for a while, and it's kind of bittersweet. Yeah, do you want to win the day to make it to the championship round?
Sure.
Absolutely. But honestly, you really just want to make it to that knockout round, because some of the stuff that you found in practice will produce the way that it was during, that'll produce the way in the event that it was in practice.
So you're 11th place after your first day, and you're certainly within range of first place, because as you point out, we've seen a 9-pounder caught today. We've seen an 8-pounder caught today. We've seen a handful of 6s. I believe we may have seen a 7. So do you have a number in mind that you would like to catch or think you need to catch tomorrow?
I really don't have a number, because to put a number on Lake Okeechobee is kind of tough, because when you find them, you can blow it out of the water. That is the thing. In 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 flips, you could have 30-plus pounds and catapult all the way to the top. So there's really not a number. I think the goal is to stay. My goal tomorrow would be to stay 100% focused on the decisions that I make when I make them, because area is crucial. This water has drastically changed from clear to dirty, and when you see it, and we're never on the water on those windy days. I was on the water on that windy day, and where I was fishing literally was 3 foot higher than when I was in there in practice. And as the wind shifted, I watched it all go out.
Wow.
The current, unbelievable.
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
mean, and you got to find that clear water.
Wow.
Welcome to Lightsey.
Thank you very much.
I will be taking care of you gentlemen today.
Cool.
Can I get y'all started with maybe an appetizer, some fish dip, get
So I'm pretty sure we're gonna go with shrimp. Correct? You want shrimp?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. But you know, Okeechobee's and Lightsey's is famous for their gator tail.
Well, I'm not gonna say no to gator tail then. If you're saying gator tail, then we'll do gator tail. Let's do
Okay.
both. Let's do both.
Yeah.
Or we
All right.
actually have an Okie sampler. It has a little bit of everything. So it has cooter, which is soft-shell turtle.
Okay.
It has catfish,
Uh-huh.
frog legs, and gator on there as well.
Frog legs, I'm in, dude.
Okay, let's do it.
They're
We'll do it.
fantastic.
Let's do that.
You like frog legs?
Yeah. Been a long
You ever
time.
had 'em?
I've been a long time, but I'll take them.
Not a
What?
problem.
Frog legs, dude. Oh, yes.
Yeah, all right.
They're excellent. Now you're bringing back memories.
Yes, and they're really good. They're really good.
Okay,
Yeah, they-
we're in. That sounds like a
and
plan.
So I'll go put that in.
'Kay.
And our saltwater fish today, just so you guys know, is golden tile, porgy, and then we also have cobia and flounder. Alrighty?
This place has got it. This place has got it all going on.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you, it's the place to go in Okeechobee.
Cool.
Definitely. Also,
Thank you.
our scallops are the real scallops, and they are the good size ones, the big ones. So
Okay.
if you like scallops, this is the place.
Super.
Thank you.
Good.
And you're not open for breakfast,
No, we don't open till 11.
but you would say go to Pogie's restaurant, wouldn't you?
I would definitely.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Their biscuits
All right.
and gravy on point.
All
There
right,
you
there
go.
Very good.
All right,
All
travel
right, so
tips
I'm
for
gonna
you.
Put this in and I'll be back.
Thank you very much. That sounds amazing. Yep.
Pogie's is a restaurant that we would always, coming from Kissimmee, we would come down, and that would be our stop before we hit the lake.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Pogies. That's where you went, wasn't it, Josh? Pogies.
Good stuff, dude.
Really
Doug
good?
Vest
All
is
right.
the owner. He's a great guy. Used to fish all the time down here with
All right. So Lightseys for lunch and dinner, Pogies for breakfast.
Yep.
That's the place to do in Okeechobee.
and on the lake all day. Unless it's 30-mile-an-hour winds, don't go unless you have to.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's talk about picking this lake apart. So, dirty water, wind. I mean, so what's your most important factor in your head when you leave tomorrow morning? What's the most important thing for you that influences where you go?
I think the most important thing is to pay attention to the wind direction.
Okay.
On Lake Okeechobee, the wind direction, like if you look at it this morning, it was pretty much nilch. There was nothing, and it was pretty. As the day went on, it really picked up. So if you're down in that southeast corner by Clewiston, in order for you to run somewhere, it's tough. Or if you're on the shoal, or up by Horse Island and Monkey Box, for you to actually run somewhere is tough because it gets really bumpy out there. So you need to kind of make decisions based on the wind directions. Probably one of the most important things that I'll look at in the morning before I attack Okeechobee.
Okay. All right. So we're in event number 2. You did great in event number 1. Heavy hitters is a thing now. All of a sudden, you really want to catch at least one big fish. How excited are you about that?
I'm so excited about it because prior to the start of the season, I really had a hunch to just fish for a big fish the entire time, every day. But then again, you can kind of do that and catch, some good fish as well. But yeah, heavy hitters is definitely on my radar, 100%. You're going to have to get out of every lake, I think, pretty much with a 5-pound plus fish. Could be a little more, could be a little less, but I'm thinking roughly right around there. So the most of the third period yesterday, I kind of went for that. I tried to search for that bigger fish, and it didn't pan out. But I think that going into tomorrow, my goal is going to be to make the cut because that big fish will come out of those if you can fish 2 more days. Because of the weather, because of the conditions, you will have the opportunity at a big fish.
That's kind of the reward, though, for making it as far as you can in this process, that you do have 7.5 extra hours. If you make it to another round, I mean, it's super cool to win a round and go straight to the championship. Nothing wrong with that. But it doesn't hurt to have...
Dude, it's more money.
Yeah.
You guaranteed television time.
Yeah.
I'll take a win over a big fish any day right now.
All right. Yeah.
But if you do win, you probably caught a big one.
That's a pretty good chance. That's the case, right? So 9-pounder caught today. I mean, do we have a chance of a 10 this week?
Absolutely. You know, like I said, it was getting right. It was right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was getting right. It was right.
Yeah.
And you will see, I think you'll see 1 over 10. You might see a couple of them. You might see a lot more 8s now. I don't know if you looked at if people paid attention to the event and you follow. When were those bigger fish being caught? Later on in the week when when the weather's stabled. We had a warm day today. Granted, it's still windy. We'll have a warmer day tomorrow, a warmer day on Tuesday, and Wednesday another front starts to creep down, and the fish bite before a front. It will be lights out.
So you have to translate some of this Florida stuff because it's different here than it is anywhere else in the entire world as far as the way the fish respond to temperature changes and so forth. So 2 days is adequate time for them to recover from a drop in temperature like this?
Oh, yeah, because the water temp only dropped down to about 7 degrees. It wasn't like it went to 20 degrees or anything like that. I mean, it dropped down to 50, degrees air temp, and the water temp did drop. It dropped to almost 8 to 10 degrees, which because of the wind is why it dropped so much. But the sun's been out and the water's warming right back up. The water's starting to position itself right back where it was. And, I think that it's just going to be fantastic.
We'll see how that all plays out. Let's get into some Lane family history, shall we?
Sure.
Looking forward to this. So we had a chance to sit down with Bobby along with Justin Lucas, and he mentioned that he was a pretty decent soccer player back in the day. Now, I didn't really realize this until the last couple of weeks, but you were also a soccer player, right? Goalie?
Yeah, I was a goalie. I didn't run a whole lot. I stayed back in the goal.
But I hear you're pretty good.
I had a good career at that. Actually, had a full ride scholarship to go and play, and had the coach down, came and sat down with me and my mom. Went up to Virginia and played, and had a good practice up there, or whatever you call that, intern. So they wanted give me a full ride scholarship to go up there, and I was sitting on the porch in Lakeland at my mom and dad's, and it was my mom, my dad, the coach. He gave us the proposal, and I said, "Man, I really don't want to go." And my dad says, "Man, I'll buy you a little car. You can come home anytime you want." And I'll never forget it because it's taught me to be that kind of parent as well. My dad said, "Well, I respect my son's decision." It was hard. I know it was killing him inside. And at the end of the day, here we are now. But I learned a lot from that decision, moving forward.
Let's talk about the family dynamics of the Lane household. So you've got another brother, Arnie, who was a pretty darn good fisherman himself. So the three of you, what's the age difference?
Arnie is 46, Bobby is 45, and I'm 44. And my sister is 40.
Okay. All right.
I think I got that right.
Who would you say is the best natural fisherman among the three of you, the three brothers? Or maybe it's your sister.
Yeah, no, I would say natural fisherman would probably be Bobby.
Okay.
He was always the one to get in the creeks, to get dirty, to grab the crayfish, to grab the snakes, kind of the no fear. So that's why I think this event really doesn't bother him. I mean, he's not worried about anything. He'll wake up and he'll have a couple cold snacks tonight and then wake up the next day and he'll be fine and be ready for Lake Fork. So that would probably be my answer to that one.
So when you were getting into the tournament game, were you tournament partners? Did you compete against each other?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, no, we were partners. Won a ton of events.
Really? Around Lakeland or around the entire state?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
I mean, we won down here in Okeechobee. Well, we didn't win very many in Okeechobee because Arnie and his partner would kick our butts all the time.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. When the horny toad first came out, Arnie had them, and man, they'd weigh in 30+ pounds every single time. And me and Bobby'd come in with 25, thinking we're doing good. Yeah. And Arnie would smoke us. But, me and Bobby fished a lot of tournaments together on Kissimmee, on Okeechobee, and did well. But we battled, as well, and as we do today.
How excited were you when you saw the schedule come out? Because we go to fisheries that I think most people would say fits you pretty well. Were you excited about the schedule?
I was very excited about the schedule. I think I was more excited about the fact that Mike Malone in Major League Fishing, in the 8 anglers or 6 anglers that are a part of it,
Yeah.
to help choose the schedule
Buddy.
is very important.
Yeah.
And my hat's off to those guys, because those anglers did a fantastic job to help Mike and the people at Major League Fishing to come up with a schedule at the right place at the right time.
Yep. So, what is all this in front of us here? So this is
I see alligator.
that's
I
gator
see,
bites, right? What is that?
No, I would say this is gator bite.
Okay.
That's a gator. I don't see any frog legs. This is fit. Oh wait,
Oh yeah, there's frog legs.
leg.
Okay.
Oh
All
my
right.
gosh! Look, hey.
So the spots we're going. I mean, so clearly, I mean, you did great. You did great in Eufaula. Mm-hmm. We're here in Okeechobee, where, as I pointed out, you've had some success before. We go to Lake Fork, which should be bananas. We go to Raleigh, which last year was bananas,
Yeah.
and then Grand Lake. That's just the first half for heavy hitters. So, I'm thinking a guy like yourself would be super happy with that.
I'm really happy for the schedule. I think that it fits your style. People say, you hear a little bit of complaints about, oh well, it's all bank fishing. Well, the first tournament wasn't bank fishing; it was one offshore.
It was. Yep.
Lake Fork could be one offshore. Okeechobee might be one off the bank. I don't know. I don't know where these guys are catching them. I don't know who's going to win. But it could be that they're offshore as well.
Yep. Could be.
But I'd rather see it one in the cattails or buggy whips or lily pads.
Do you just eat gator tail growing up in Florida? Is that something that's normal? Gator tail? Is that like a normal, average, everyday food here in Florida?
Oh,
Gator
absolutely.
tail? It is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much any restaurant you go to that's not a chain restaurant, you can get
Got gator?
tail.
Really? How about frog legs? Really?
Most places, like restaurants like this, like
Yeah.
Lightsey's,
Yeah.
You have them all over, but mainly in the center part of the state. And I think you can get them over there on each side of the coast too. Florida's loaded with frogs.
Didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we used to go frog gigging. Me and Bobby, my brothers, my cousins. Yeah, we couldn't cook them like that though.
That's pretty awesome.
Dude, they're probably one of the best animals like off the land that I've ever eaten. Me personally.
That's pretty good. So one of the things that happened today was that Zach Burge ended up finishing in the top 5 after a 0 on day 1. Is that something that can be typical of this fishery, especially in this condition? Or
Yeah,
how does that happen?
absolutely.
How does he go from 0 to top 5?
You run into a wad,
Yeah.
and it's not like when you run into a wad of fish in Okeechobee in the grass.
Yep.
I don't know if he was in the grass. He could have been offshore and ran into a wad of them, but obviously there's probably still some grass out there. Okeechobee at its deepest point, I think in the middle of the lake, is about 9 to 10 foot. So, the vegetation, which needs to start coming back, and then stop spraying. But when you find fish in the grass of that quality, 2 pounds keeper fish
Yep.
or a scoreable bass for us. So when you find that
Yep.
and you catch another one, or you find the kind of the deal and where they're at, you can load the boat in a hurry.
Really?
And I mean in a hurry. And I kept waiting for that for Bobby, because that's how he knows how to do it.
Right.
I mean, I don't know that he's ever not busted a big giant sack on Okeechobee
Yep.
and took him all day. Usually when you find it, it's
Yeah.
a magic spot.
So, truth or fiction about Florida fishing in general? Jordan Lee told me this, that it took him a while to sort it out because not from down here, came down here, didn't do very well in his first few events, but kind of sorted things out a little bit. But he says that you can go and hit a 50 to 60 yard stretch, and that's the juice. But they're not all over the place. Like, you can't, just because the problem is for anybody who's out of town, you put your boat in, and every single thing looks like it should have a fish on it. Everything does, but that's not the case. So how do you decipher what is the juice and what's not?
Yeah, that's the number one question that we probably get being from Florida is how do you find fish in all that grass? It all looks so good. It all looks the same. Got to cover water. You have to cover water.
Yeah.
And you learn to read the grass, kind of like reading a map, how guys read ledges and stuff like that. You need to learn to read the grass, but you read the grass visually. That looks like a good spot because it has a cut and a point, and it's got lily pads and grass instead of just buggy whips, or it's got buggy whips and grass and no lily pads. So it's one of those things that you have to learn, that you learn by growing up down here, that you can, you always feel like you have a little bit of advantage in Florida when you can learn, where the grass is growing on hard bottoms and where the grass looks like it's probably a mucky bottom. I mean, you do that visually.
Let's go in reverse then. So you have done really well in Florida, but you've also won north in the Great Lakes. I mean, your wins have been in pretty diverse fisheries and locations. So how steep was your learning curve leaving Florida and fishing places like the St. Lawrence River and St. Clair and those places that we
Yeah, I think it was a lot easier.
Really?
Yeah, because, well, you go up north, and me and Bobby always kid each other about it, or people ask us, well, how do you catch them up north? Well, you just whale a drop shot out there and you drag it until a smallmouth bites it.
Okay.
And once you find one, you find a bunch of them. I mean, we kid around about that, but it's not visually intensely punching a mat that's the size of a small porch,
Right.
For an hour trying to figure out where those fish are set up on that mat.
Right.
Up north, the water's really clear and they'll come a long way. So the learning curve to fish up north was a little bit easier than it was.
Really? Yeah.
But fishing down south all comes natural because this is where I grew up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had a lot to learn, and we learned a lot, but we learned a lot by trial and error. They didn't have YouTube. They didn't have videos. They didn't have Facebook, text, and tweet, and my book, and whatever they got, nowadays. And time on the water is the most important thing. And we were able to do that as kids with my grandpa and my dad, and then me and my two brothers, we were fishing all the time.
Yeah.
So we learned firsthand.
Do your kids have an interest in tournament bass fishing?
My son, my oldest son, is hardcore at it.
Yeah.
He graduates this year, and he's fishing the BFLs, and I think he's 80th in the points right now out of 230, 250 or something like that. So he's inspiring to do it, and he's got what it takes. It's just that learning curve of doing what you got to do is on your own to be a professional fisherman.
Would you
The mental side?
Would you rather have grown up in the day and age where you didn't have all of the information available,
Absolutely.
or today when you had everything available to you?
I'm old school.
From an information style.
Yeah, I'm an old school. The information that's out there now,
Yeah.
yes, there is so much would have saved years
Yeah.
on our lives,
Yeah.
knowing that stuff, and spending time. I mean, you didn't even have a GPS unit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
These kids can see everything nowadays, and I think for a safety factor, that's really good. There's been
Sure it
many.
is.
There's been
Sure it
times
is.
we've been lost, out in the lakes, and
Yeah.
I mean, you get down in Florida, it's not like you got houses on these lakes. There's not. I don't think that there's a house in the inside of rim ditch of Lake Okeechobee.
Probably not. No.
How's
So-
everyone doing on beers? Would you like another shellfish?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. You guys good? Super.
So, information nowadays I think can be really, really good, and it's
Yeah.
a good way to
Sure.
fast track the knowledge to have what you need to go fishing and
Yep.
to be successful.
Right.
But I think on the tournament professional side, I shouldn't say tournament, I should say the professional side of a professional bass fisherman, there's a lot more to it than that. You have to have the mental aspect to be a professional fisherman,
Yep.
to accept defeat, to be able to make adjustments when conditions change, because you deal with conditions that you've never dealt with, that nobody's ever dealt with. I mean, we're still dealing it with today.
Yeah.
I mean, we just dealt with it 2 days ago. I can tell you right now, myself, Bobby, and probably 80 of these other anglers, they've never fished in conditions that bad because they would usually cancel a day.
Yeah.
But with the trailering policy, we were able to get the day in. It's like playing NFL when it's pouring down snow and it's 20 below. Do those guys want to be out there? No, but the fans want it. They want to see the game played. And that's what I love about Major League Fishing, making those adjustments.
Talk to me a little bit about the mental part of the game. So you have the constant reminder of where you sit in the standings, either positive or negative, one way or the other. But it also can influence your pace and your location. And there are so many different things that are mental about this particular game that you play for MLF with Score Tracker and all the things that you know during the course of it that you didn't have to worry about before.
Yeah. I actually got caught up in it the other day. I'll be honest with you. I've got a camera guy, and I'm sitting there. I'm in 8th place, I guess, something like that, 5th place. I was up in the top 10 most of the day. And they get a call. They're coming to get the cameraman. I'm like, well, that's good. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, golly. And they said, oh, they're going to get Dean or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it was just one of those things. And I'm like, damn, Dean was fishing right outside of here where I'm at in practice. And I know how many bites I had.
Yeah.
And I know Porosnik was catching them, and he put in down there with me. I mean, we all put in down there together, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's kind of, and Hackney was in the top 10. So I know kind of where we're at and what we're doing. We're in the right area. And I'm like, man, if this stretch fires, and nobody was on this outside stretch that I saw, I said, if this fires, then man, this is going to be great. And here the score tracker goes up, Porosnik, Hackney, Rojas. I'm going, I'm getting to the outside.
Yeah.
I got to the outside, and I'm not so sure that it was the right decision. I was looking for a big fish. It was dirty. The water had stayed dirty, and of course there was no boats out there, you know. But you know, did I feel like I made a bad decision? No, because I was trying to get up to where you're trying to win the day. So score tracker, knowing the game. It's a mental aspect that we all are having to learn as we go along.
It's a new form of strategy. Do you enjoy it?
I love it.
Do you?
Yeah, because there's no other sport that is played that they don't know the score.
Right. But has it influenced you negatively ever? I mean, you've been doing this
The
for a few.
score
You've been
tracker?
doing this for a few years. Yeah. You're not new to Score Tracker.
The score tracker, yeah, I mean, it doesn't influence me negatively in the sense of when you're getting your butt kicked and you can't figure anything out. And I'll go to Table Rock,
Yeah.
and I'm watching guys next to me. I'm watching guys that are catching them.
Yeah.
It just ain't my day. And as score tracker goes, and as you continue to fall back, yeah, it hurts. It hurts mentally. You question yourself, going back to the statement about facing defeat.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to face it. I mean, it's right there. You have to face it because it's right in front of you. It's right there on the score tracker. You're in 38th place, and everybody else kicked your butt.
All right, so your week here at Okeechobee is not done yet. I'm pretty sure that you'll probably be disappointed. You would be disappointed if you didn't make the championship round, right? I mean, it's safe to say that every time you fish
absolutely.
down here, you expect that you're probably going to win.
Yeah.
Not that you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not expecting to win, but what I am expecting to do is to do my job.
Okay.
And that is to go catch fish over 2 pounds against the best 80 fishermen in the world. Well,
Yep.
so that is my job. And if I don't do my job, then I will feel that I've let the people down that support me feel like I haven't done my job.
So as we move on beyond this, we go to Lake Fork a couple weeks after we leave here. You know, we've got a little bit of a break, not too much. Down to Lake Fork, how do you foresee that event happening?
I foresee Lake Fork being probably our big fish event of the year.
Yeah.
I see it making or breaking your chance to heavy hitters. And I really see it as an event that the guy that wins that will be sore when he's done.
And then we move on to Raleigh again. So that's an area that really, honestly, unless you were Marty Stone, you didn't know anything about it. I mean, it was a mystery to almost everybody. I'm sure that some of you guys had heard about it. But we go back to a fishery or a series of fisheries that were fantastic. They were really good. That whole week was kind of a learning curve for everybody. So, I mean, we have strong events backing up strong events.
Yeah, I actually, my first fish, Major League Fishing at Raleigh last year was a 7-pounder
First fish? Yeah.
of at the Bass Pro Tour.
Yeah.
And it blew me away. Had a horrible practice. I heard about how great this lake is. Oh, you guys are going to rip them, and never fished there. And I flip in there, and there's a bite.
Yeah.
And I set the hook, and I'm like, holy cow. And then you hear score tracker.
Yeah.
And it's rolling, and you see the size of these fish. We hit it at a bad time.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Again.
That's right.
As far as weather conditions, rainy, cold,
Yeah.
But what a great fisheries in such a small area. Of a short drive. So yeah, Raleigh's going to be exciting. If we hit that right, then I don't think it could beat Fork for big fish, but it might beat it for numbers, man. I don't know.
How badly would you like to hit one of these places at the exact right time? Because we've been just a little bit off.
Yeah, we were so close right here that if it was the right time, and when I say right time, you talk about Okeechobee, you talk about finding sweet spots and stuff like that. When you hit it right, you see the 37 and 45-pound bags. That's what you're after. And of course, with Major League Fishing in the format, you'd see 100-pound bags. You really would see that in a day.
Yep.
We're just missing it.
Yeah.
We're just missing it by a couple of days, But this final event will be there. To hit Fork right at the right time, that would probably be the one that I would be most excited about. Because the number of teens that are in there. Biggest fish for Major League Fishing is...
Well, it's still a 9.
10 something?
No, we haven't broken 10 yet.
Have not broken
Never
10.
Broken 10 yet. We're still in the 9s, yeah.
Brett Height at Okeechobee, 9.
Yeah, so we had 2. We had Connell hit a 9
9-14.
and Height hit a 9. Now, and we've had a 9 here. Lefebvre got a 9 today. So we're still waiting for our first 10.
That'll go down in Lake Fork.
Think so?
Yep, 100%.
You wouldn't be shocked if it happened here, though, would you?
No, you could see it happening here, but I would say for sure, if it doesn't happen here on Tuesday or Wednesday, then it'll happen at Fork.
All right. So your goal is to fish Tuesday or Wednesday.
God, I hope so. Man, that's my that's my goal. My goal is to make the knockout round. If you win the day, that's a bonus. You can do it if you find the right stretch, but I think most importantly, getting to Tuesday, I mean, I'd like to fish Tuesday anyway, just because the fishing's going to be so good. The water's going to settle, and you got to think about it too. The water here, when it settles a foot. That's all it's got to go. Yeah. It's not like in those deep water lakes, where it has to go way down. You only got to go even to a half a foot. If it's clear, watch out.
Let's do a quick review then. So review number 1, Lake Okeechobee is starting to set up, so we could see something pretty special Tuesday, Wednesday. So that is knockout round and championship round. Number 2, you were a pretty good soccer goalie back in the day. And the number 3, if you're going to come to Central Florida, you have to order frog legs and gator.
Absolutely.
Can't leave here without.
Neither one of them will let you down.
All right. And neither did you, Chris. I appreciate your time here on the No Limits Podcast.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you, buddy.